hey, if you look at the time, it's after 6. This is Noah from After 6 Cocktails, and today we're going to make 2, not 1, but 2 old fashions. Today we're going to make an old fashioned. An old fashioned is considered one of the earliest cocktails in existence, and it fits the original 1862 definition of a cocktail, where it involves a strong spirit of some sort, ice, some sort of sweetener as in simple syrup, and some sort of bitters. The most traditional whiskey, yes, this is a whiskey cocktail. It used to just be called the whiskey cocktail. It would be a rye whiskey. I have the Victor's rye here. But I'm also going to try this cocktail with an Irish whiskey, such as the Sexton single malt Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey is made in Ireland and has different regional laws that govern it. Like a single malt in Ireland is much different than a single malt in Scotland. But this, to be called straight rye whiskey in the United States, the mash bill, i.e. the grains that make up the whiskey, must be at least 51% rye. It must be aged in new American charred oak barrels, and for at least 4 years. And I'm going to use these Angostura aromatic bitters. A lot of recipes call for like sugar cubes and powdered sugar. I don't have any of that, and it's also not the preferred way I like to make my old fashioned, so I'm just going to use my simple syrup. So let's start by adding first old fashioned is going to be made with the Michter's rye whiskey. So we're going to add 2 dashes of Angostura aromatic bitters, a barspoon of simple syrup, two ounces of my Michter's rye, we're actually going to stir this in the mixing glass because the ice cubes I like to use for these are way too large for it to be stirred in the glass. I am missing one thing. I'm missing the ice cubes I like to use for the old fashioned. I like using these gigantic ice cubes. when making drinks on ice. Here, the simple syrup really rounds out the barrel char. It sort of offsets the barrel char in Michter's rye. And I normally cannot drink rye or bourbon neat, so mixing it into this old fashioned really helps. Yeah, that's good. That's a good cocktail. So now we're going to make the old fashioned with the Irish whiskey. I know some people might say, "Oh, you should never mix the single malt whiskey into a cocktail." Now, this is not premium whiskey by any means. It doesn't have any. I've tasted it. It tastes a lot like the Glenlivet Scotch whiskey, in that it has a lot of honeysuckle, a lot of fruity notes to it, and it doesn't have the grainy, the metallic-y notes like you find in Jameson. So for the Irish whiskey, we do the bitters first. Always got to do the bitters first. Still two dashes of bitters. Do the barspoon of simple syrup. You got 2 ounces of the sext of an Irish whiskey. I am nowhere near means as a professional. This is that. I'm going to grab a big giant ice cube. Put it in the glass for this old fashioned. Let's taste this old fashioned. Let's compare these two. I actually like the old-fashioned made with the Irish whiskey much better than the one made with the rye whiskey. Maybe that's because I really don't like rye whiskey. I really don't. It has that barrel char to it. It's the same way with bourbon. I need to add many other flavors to balance that barrel char. Well, this is a special episode for St. Patrick's Day. So, sláinte, have a good night.